whatever we do in life to be the best at it. He's like, even if you're a ditch digger, be the best ditch digger there is. Welcome to Running is Cheaper Than Therapy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Weta L. Brown. I inspire and promote movement. I explain how running adds to life from a mental wholeness aspect, how obstacles can be overcome in life to make it to your finish line. Welcome to Running is Cheaper Than Therapy, episode 90. So today is the last episode of season 5. I, again, thank everyone who listens, supports my podcast. I thank my editors. I thank my brother for assisting me with some video clips. I thank my friends who listen and provide input. I thank all of my guests, past, present, future. So today I want to talk about an interesting subject: homecoming, returning home. About a week ago, this is pre-recorded, I attended Florida A&amp Agricultural Mechanical University's homecoming. And those who know me and those who actually listen to my podcast know I am a lover of all things Florida A&amp. I'm proud of my college. I thank God that He blessed me and saw it fit for me to attend FAMU because it truly changed my life. A little background, and you're like, what are we talking about? This is Running is Cheaper Than Therapy, or running podcast, or podcast based on endurance sports. But my podcast is based on endurance sports, movement, but not only movement or sports in their original forms, but from a mental wholeness aspect. How running adds to life, how sports adds to life, how they not only add to physical but mental well-being. So that's where I kind of want to go today. It'll make more sense as I continue along. But back to Florida A&amp University. So I graduated from high school many years ago. I am from a small town called Brookhaven, Mississippi, which is about 45 minutes from Jackson, Mississippi, 2 hours from New Orleans. My mother, who went to Southern University, which we actually play this weekend, Florida A&amp does. My dad went to Tennessee State University, and then I left Tennessee State to go to the military. My brother is a proud graduate of Jackson State University, as well as my sister-in-law. So when I was growing up, I knew I wanted to go to a historically black college and university, HBCU. So my mother was a career counselor, which is how I found out about physical therapy, because initially I didn't know what it was. So I volunteered, did some physical therapy hours, needed it for admission, and I needed to learn about it. I wanted to be a doctor, but I didn't know if I wanted to be in school forever. So I picked a career related to science after reading a book from my mother's office about physical therapy. So after I was sold on physical therapy, I had to find a school. So only Howard University in Florida A&amp University at that time were the only two schools that had a physical therapy program. At that time, they were all BS programs, a bachelor's of science. Now they're all doctorate programs. But Howard was too far away from Mississippi, so that was not a possibility. Dillard University in New Orleans did have a program where you spent 2 years in New Orleans and then you transferred to Howard. Florida A&amp had a full program. So when I was doing my college assessment, I went to Dillard, which is 2 hours away, and one of my best friends was going too, so we were going to be roommates. So I got accepted into Dillard. I got accepted into Florida A&amp. So I went to a program that's called TOPS, which is early orientation. So at TOPS, I fell in love with FAMU. It was so much fun. The students, the campus, we stayed up all night. I met actually one of my friends, Michelle Brown, which is also a physical therapist. We've been friends since 1991. We met at Tops. And we both had that in common, and we both are, she's a snowboarder, I'm a skier, but we both love snow sports. I met her. I met some of my other friends that I'm friends with today, 30 years later. So Tops made me decide that Florida A&amp was a place for me to go to college. And it was only about a 7.5 hour drive. So I can get there easily versus Howard was a bit far. And I felt comfortable driving that far by myself. And my parents could come see me. They were older. So it was easy for them to get to me in Florida versus if I went to Howard. So I chose Florida A&amp University. And Florida A&amp University, again, it changed my life. Not only did I learn a lot, and it's just funny. It's just an aside. Our colors are orange and green. I remember when I went initially, I bought a sweatshirt at the bookstore. And I bought it black because I didn't like orange and green. I hate to say that now. Now I love both colors. But anyway, I went to FAMU. I met friends who were like lifelong friends today. I flourished. I mean, I always was smart. But I had to study. I remember my first test, biology test. I called my mom and said, "Oh my God, that's like the hardest test." They asked questions about stuff under the captions, which I really didn't pay attention to. So I had to learn how to be a more in-depth or thorough as far as my studies. And what I loved about Florida A&amp was the teachers actually cared about you. If you didn't come to class, they actually paid attention. One of my biology teachers, which everyone thought was so mean, she wasn't mean. She actually cared about her students, and she wanted them to be disciplined and learn the information. I remember I went to her office, I think maybe after my first test, because my mother always taught me, you get to know the teachers. And if you have any issues, any questions, like go talk to them so they'll know your name. So I went to talk to her. And she was actually nice and very helpful. So I realized that things aren't always what they seem. People saw her as mean and not caring, but she actually cared. But sometimes, in order to succeed in life, you need people in your life who are tougher on you, who want you to be the best for you to excel. Because life is hard. And people out in the world, sometimes they don't care about you. But faculty, students, they cared about you at Florida A&amp. And I remember Dr. Strickland. I saw his son, James, at homecoming. He was my comparative anatomy teacher. I loved him. He loved his job, and you could tell he loved teaching. And I learned a lot in that class. Even though it was hard, I took it in summer school. It was hard, but I learned a lot. And I always loved Dr. Strickland. I always went to see him when I came back for homecoming. He passed away. And I remember another one of my professors, Dr. Anderson. His son was also in class with me. He taught algebra. I don't remember. I mean, I probably maybe can do algebra now, but it's not like something I have to do on a regular basis. But I learned a lot of life skills from him. He used to sit in class. And I remember one day, people didn't show up. It was like maybe the week of homecoming or the week before homecoming. And like no one showed up to class. So he was going off about people that basically need to show up and be responsible. And how we need to be excellence. One of our mottos at Florida A&amp is excellence with caring. He gave us this long speech about whatever we do in life to be the best at it. He's like, even if you're a ditch digger, be the best ditch digger there is. And I remember him giving us these life lessons. And I carried them with me away from Florida A&amp University. I remember Dr. Bell, may he rest in peace. This was the semester after I pledged, and I was dog tired trying to pass my finals. Someone showed up for my exam. Maybe I looked like I was about to die or something, but he looked at me. He said, "Do you want to take your test later?" I was like, "No, let me get it out the way." But the fact that he cared enough to offer that to me meant a lot. And I miss Dr. Bell. He again is no longer with us. May he rest in peace. But he instilled a lot. Many of my teachers instilled a lot of just being excellent. And I also mentioned my dean, who was also my soror. She cared about me. Well, it's not just about how I was doing in my physical therapy class. If I had some issues with financial aid, if I had issues with my car, like when I didn't show up in class, I'm thinking about another present professor at Florida A&amp, Tracy A., who is my soror as well. She cared about. She was an older student at the time, but she cared, and she still cares. The reason I want to talk about homecoming, going home. So I went to homecoming last Thursday, and when I go out of town, it's always extra work from my professional aspect. And I try to get my workouts in. So when I'm out of town, I won't feel bad. Like, oh, I missed the bike. Or so I'm not taking my bike to homecoming. Or I missed a swim, which I actually was supposed to swim when I was there. But, so I'm tired. And I never get enough sleep before I got to town. Packing. And then as soon as we got there, it was party Thursday night. Friday, convocation. Good Morning America was on campus. Day party, step show. There was a party after that as well. Saturday, we have what's called Studio DST, which is a get together for Deltas who pledged the Beta Alpha chapter at FAMU, and tailgating game. We sing at the Theta again, sorority, my Delta Sigma Theta. We swing on the Theta, and then after that to another party. And then the weekend's over. So it's a lot to do, but actually still recovering. Because every time I go to town, I don't get enough sleep. I feel like crap when I come home. Either cold symptoms, fatigue. And then I'm sore because I really got some dancing in, which is work. My quads, my calves, my feet, and I also actually ran when I was there. I did my workouts. So my legs are still like lead.
In Season 5, we will continue the segment Ask the Doc. If you have any questions related to musculoskeletal health, please email me, send me a message via social media, or click on my website and leave an audio message. Select messages will be answered on the segment.
Homecoming, although it's tired and I'm paying for it now, it's a rejuvenation. It's going home. It's reminiscent of those times, those professors, Dr. Bennett, Dr. Strickland, Dr. Bell, Dean Beck. Reminiscing with my line sisters. I didn't grow up having sisters, so I have my best friends who I consider my sister, my cousins, the twins who used to come take care of me all the time when I was a kid. Used to take me to swim lessons and did my hair, which is a whole nother story. I have my line sisters, which I love dearly. Friends from freshman year. I mentioned my friend Michelle Brown. Friends I used to kick it with from day one. Friends who had my back. Going to homecoming rekindles those relationships. And during COVID 2020, 2021, where we're in social isolation, me living by myself and being single, it's like I miss that socialization. I miss the hugs. I miss the closeness. So every time I get a chance to be around that social interactions, people I love, people I want to give a hug to, I don't pass on it because it feeds my spirit. It fills me up. People say that people who graduated from high school are a cult. We just love each other, and we realize that life is hard and the world is hard, and you get beat down and put down, and there's nothing like coming home where people lift you up, people love you, people encourage you, people know your greatness, see your greatness, and see where you come from and see where you've gone, and just nurture that and just love that. And then the parties are nice too. I mean, I don't party all the time. And for people who do it, I mean, nothing wrong. But partying with people that you know and just dancing, because like I'm an active person, so that was part of my workout. So there's nothing like homecoming. And, you know, I don't really, like I said, I don't really party, I don't really drink. It's just the people, the bond, the camaraderie. that give me life. And it's kind of hard to put into words that feeling that I come home with this, like I can conquer the world. I'm full. I'm ready to face whatever challenge I have in life. So, and how I'm equating this is to endurance sport. Sometimes through the grind, the everyday, getting up early, getting to the pool, getting on your bike, the trainer, you're running, either on the boring treadmill, which I try not to do, or you're going outside in the cold weather in Chicago. You're getting up early because you want to get out the way, because you may have a work obligation, you have a family obligation. You're trying to fit it all in. And while the training, the racing, it gives you life, sometimes it kind of takes things away too. Yeah, may not get as much sleep as someone else. Sometimes your body may get beat down, and sometimes you get sick because you don't get enough rest, because you're doing so much work, life, family. Training for a race, or just it's a part of your lifestyle, the training. You might not even have a race, but it's part of your lifestyle. Being healthy, being fit, and part of your, maybe your social circles as well. So sometimes in the midst of the grind, you need something that kind of grounds you, something that fills you, something that brings you back and gives you life and makes you smile and makes you be the best version of you. Happy, healthy, confident, vibrant. And what I'm saying is that sometimes you need to find that, like I find that in homecoming. I find that, and then some of my, I travel all the time though, but I find that, say, at the summit where I ski, that's kind of our ski homecoming. I find that rejuvenation there. I find that when I go out of town and see people that I've known for years, and they could be rattlers or they could be other people I've connected with, which I consider that are family, that gives me life. So maybe for, say, a runner, a triathlete, maybe that may be a big race. It could be, I know a lot of people come to Chicago for the Chicago Tri. A lot of people run the majors out at Atlanta. They have the race. Others, a lot of running races that are meetups. That can be, quote unquote, your homecoming, while you're going to do a race, but you find a life. You find fulfillment in just being around your people. Your people that have your back. Your people that encourage you. And maybe for a triathlete, it could be a race as well. It could be, say, a Fast Chicks, which is a group I had Colonel Yvonne Spencer on, who started Fast Chicks to empower women. It could be going to a Fast Chicks meetup. It could be going to a Fast Chicks training destination camp that they're having. I'm also a member of Team Zoot. They have a training camp as well. It could be a big Ironman race with a lot of people, and you may not even be racing like me. Last 2021, I was supposed to do Tulsa, for example, and I couldn't race because I had surgery, and I still was in remote, but I went anyway because I wanted to be around my tri family. I was selfish, even though I'm cheering and helping them out. They gave me life, and they helped motivate me to want to get back out there so I can race. Racing also gives me life. And also one of my ski buddies lives there. So that connection helps me. I haven't done a big race since 2019. It's 2022, about to be the end of it. In the midst of that, I've had 2 knee surgeries and a lot of other stuff going on with work and life, and racing gives me life. It pours into me, and I haven't had that. So I've had to find, say, my fulfillment, some motivation, some connections, other ways, whether it be cheering on a race, going to the Fast Chicks meetup, which I did this year at Rev 3, just going on group rides with people, because a lot of times, like during COVID, that was taken away because, we had to socially isolate. I was on my trainer. So it's something about the connections. I know a lot of people participate in sports for different reasons. And the reason, if you know my story, I started running was initially to lose weight, but then I found that it filled my spirit, and the people that I met became my family, my lifeline, my United Nations. Uche, which is another past podcast guest, was the leader of United Nations. They gave me life. They helped me become a long distance runner. And when I had other issues, when I had to move out of my place after that place caught on fire, Tina, one of the United Nations runners, helped me move. When I had surgery and needed someone to take me to the hospital, Tina helped me out. When right before I moved, I had a going away party by the whole crew. Before there was a big presence at the reggae marathon with the reggae runners. We went to Jamaica, Team United Nations, and that was one of the best vacations I had. It's something about the bond that you have with like-minded athletes. It means a lot. So, as I talk about homecoming, as I talk about the feeding your spirit, as I talk about sports, and not from just a performance aspect, but from a wholeness aspect, I admonish you to find what feeds your spirit. Find joy in your sport. Because if it's not fun, you might as well not do it. You shouldn't be miserable running, biking, swimming, or whatever it is that you choose to do as an outlet. It should be joyous, and you should find joy in it. And sometimes you need to step back and figure out what feeds you and do that. It may not be just trying to get a PR on every workout, get a PR on every race, but by connecting with those people out there with you, by volunteering, by helping someone else who might be new to the sport. Each one teach one. But find your passion, find your joy, find something that will make this a lifelong endeavor. Even say when you get to the point where you may not can run anymore, you get to a certain point in your life. There's always the aqua bike. Say you may not be able to do full distance races anymore. They still have sprints. Say you may not be able to run, but you can power walk. I mean, there's so many things out there. There's possibilities, and there are different things out there, so you can have a lifelong commitment. So I hope this has been inspirational to you, and I hope that you find whatever it is out there that gives you joy, because we all need a little joy in this world. Again, this is the last episode of season 5. Stay tuned. I am gonna take some time between season 5 and season 6. Happy holidays, and stay tuned for more Running is Cheaper Than Therapy.
That wraps up this episode of Running is Cheaper Than Therapy podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you already haven't, please download Running is Cheaper Than Therapy podcast on Apple, Spotify, or however you listen to your favorite podcast. If you have any questions, concerns, or possible show topics, please email Running is Cheaper Than Therapy, OLB, Omaha Love Brown. Again, that's Running is Cheaper Than Therapy, Omaha Love Brown @gmail.com. I also can be reached via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Handle We Life, We Love. OUI Life, OUI Love. Thank you, and please tune in again.